Hello, welcome. Thank you for joining me today. So I'm filming this reading on the full moon. And personally, I feel the energy to be really, really super intense. Like I feel like I can't even like see right. It's like my daughter and I, we woke up this morning and she was like, "What is going on in the energy?" And I'm like, "I don't even know. I feel like a hormonal teenager." So I wanted to read. I could really use some support today, so I thought I would just record, do a reading, and maybe it'll be helpful to other people as well. Yeah, it's really interesting because that the last reading that I did, I don't remember how long it was ago, probably less than a week, and we were talking about just this flooding in of our higher aspects. The garbage truck is coming, so you'll probably hear that. It's kind of symbolic. This flooding in of our higher aspects after like this huge releasing of a lot of garbage, right? And so this flooding in, and a lot of us meeting those aspects of ourselves through the reflection that they were playing in our outer world, through opportunities or through other people. So that's what I was talking about in that last reading, if you haven't seen it. But yeah, and then for other people, I think it was and or coming in through dreams. Like I've been really having a lot of really intense and packed dreams, just like one scene after another, after another, after another, and all this stuff being communicated where it's just like so much information coming in. And for me, I kind of just hit a wall. Like I got pretty burnt out, like the candle burning on both ends. And I've talked to quite a few people that were feeling that same kind of energy. So I do think it's a collective thing where I just had to stop. I had to like pull back and just just kind of withdraw from the community a bit, withdraw from all the things that I was doing, and just find my center, because I felt like I got really, really knocked off balance to the point where I couldn't even sleep. Like there was just so much energy coming in that I was just really, really stimulated. So I was getting out of balance, and it kind of reminds me of those times, like if you happen to channel or you're really open and merged with life, there can be certain times where you just feel like there's all this information coming in, and it's almost like reminding, because that's the feeling that I was having last week with our souls, where like there was so much room, they were like flooding in. And I noticed that in sessions sometimes too, as soon as stuff, I know I talk about this a lot, but it's just interesting because it's like a fractal of the, it's a fractal, it's the same thing. You can see it everywhere. But as soon as people clear and they stabilize, then there are these like, larger parts of themselves that want to come in because there's room now, right? So sometimes it'll like dive in, like it's just like been waiting, like hanging in the field waiting. And that's how it felt to me. Like there was just like so much that wanted to come in. But it's like, looking at it from the perspective of what's making sense to me right now is like, hey, higher self, or hey, soul, I don't think you realize what it's like to be in a body. Like down here in a body, we can short circuit. We can have like nervous system overload. Like we need to sleep. We need to be grounded enough that we can eat. And so I know a lot of us were like, no matter what we did, we couldn't ground. We just couldn't ground. We were just like, And so then, for me, the big crash kind of came last weekend, where I was just like, whoa, okay, I got to take better care of myself. Cancel a bunch of stuff, and so anyway, but just kind of like turning the dial down a little bit with our intention. Like I really want to receive all of me. I want to like embody as much as I can, but I want to do it in a way that my nervous system can handle, that my my mind and my emotions and my human body can handle. So let's go slow, let's temper it. And I think it was like that awareness of like, wow, this is a lot, holy crap, and then just knowing our limits and knowing when to kind of like rest and pause. And for me, it was kind of hard to cancel some of that stuff, and that's what happened. Like there was this one dance thing that I really wanted, I talked about in the last reading, but I really wanted to go to. Well, I ended up like really hurting my legs. Like I danced for so long that like I think I like broke all the muscles in my legs, and they've been repairing ever since. And now I can't go to the ecstatic dance that I've been going to until my knees are better. So it's just like overdoing it, and I didn't want to cancel. I didn't want to not go to that event. Like I was really excited about it, and so there were other things I was excited about and that I had to cancel. You just there's plenty of time in life, just pace yourself. So if you're relating to that, oh my God, yeah. And so anyway, so that's kind of like what I've been feeling, and what the people that I'm circulating with, it seems like a lot of us are feeling that. Also, a lot of like I've been really feisty lately. I've been kind of feisty, and I'm normally a patient person. I'm normally I have a lot of compassion, and like unconditional love is pretty damn easy to me, almost to a fault. But lately I've just been, I don't know if it's me or if it's, because I've heard a lot of other people talking about how like people are just seeming to be like really rude and selfish right now. And so I was running into some of that too, not with my inner circle, not with like the people I pace with, but other people where I was like, oh my God, are you kidding me? Like, it was just such a shock to me that like people, the way some people were acting, I couldn't even believe it. And I was getting all fired up about it, you know? So I think I'm also one of those people, you know, like getting kind of fired up about things. So yeah, it seems like a lot of that. And I think it's just because we're, you know, it's easy to get out of balance and people are in overwhelm right now. So again, coming back to that compassion, right? So anyway, those are the things that I've been noticing and hearing lots of other people talking about that too. Like, what is up with people? Why are people so fucking selfish right now? You know, I've heard a couple of people say that. And for me, I've just really kind of wanted to stay in my house and just stay, you know, stay low key, and just kind of withdraw. So, all right, I'm going to dive into the cards. How long did I talk? 5 minutes. That's not bad. All right, let's see what we get for today. What wants to come through? Be peace. Yeah, that's a good thing. It's like, let's tone it down. You know, some of the cards are like, life is speeding up, or, you know, whatever it is. Be peace. It's like, that goes along with what I was saying. Just kind of, yeah, just kind of rest, kind of take it simple. Take it simple. That's what I had to do. I had to be willing to miss out on things, which is weird because I haven't been a social person in like 6 years. I've been a bit of a hermit, and I just felt really called to pull back my energy. I pulled back from the community, and I don't think that's what this is. I think this is just a short little like reset, you know, rebalancing, and then I think it's all gonna like go more smoothly for me, or for those of us that are feeling that. But that time it was like a pullback for like 6 years, and I just really did a lot of shadow work. I had a lot of trials. You know, I just really dove in with myself. And so the social thing is kind of new for me. Like I didn't give a shit if I missed out on everything. You know, I didn't care. So it's kind of a new thing for me. Yeah, and just settling back into, and we're coming into fall where I'm at in New Mexico. So it's like, you know, the seasons is changing and it's getting colder. You know, I have my, you know, my cozies, and yeah, and just that call to kind of pull in. But I do think that it's a collective energy. Maybe you're not feeling that if you're in the Southern Hemisphere. I would be curious. But okay, so the next card, the tarot that we're getting, is the Ten of Air. So yeah, that's definitely a rebirth type of energy, closing out one cycle, starting another. So that's what I was feeling, you know, almost like where all that new stuff was coming in. It was both, you know, it was this kind of energy where we were clearing out and receiving at the same time. And then it's like it almost kind of went into this like metamorphosis energy where like we were doing both at the same time, and so much was pushed out that we had to kind of like dissolve and like pause and like drop everything until we could like take this new form. So this really coming through as that metamorphosis energy where you're kind of just it's that the mother piece, the first deck that I ever had, they called this the Thelma and Louise card, where you have nowhere left to go but over the cliff to like dive into deep emotions or to dive into whatever is inviting you. It's like you're not hanging on the edge of the cliff anymore, like, oh, I'm getting closer, and you know, this new life or this new path, and I'm getting farther and farther away from all. It's like when you literally just fall over the cliff and then you find your wings, or you're reborn, or you're, you know, it's that kind of moment. And that's what it feels like to me too, where it's like all of a sudden everything just went like you know. And then today, oh my gosh, today it's like a whole other thing. It's shifted again. It's a whole other thing. So, all right. So what else? Oh, interesting. Okay. So we get the Ace of Cups. The Ace of Cups I often read as the channel card, where you're wide open and you're in alignment and everything that wants to come through is coming through. So that's definitely matching the energy that I was talking about last week. And it's like a gift that, you know, you're receiving. Okay, this is like, you know, after all of the trials and after this rebirth energy, we are receiving more of ourselves. So just validating that again, it's like it's from us. It's us, our larger selves, being like, here, I'm gonna come and be with you now. I'm gonna come and be with you now. So that's consistent with the energy that's been going on for a little while now. All right, wow, man, okay. That's so interesting. This is encouraging, because if you're like me and you've been feeling a little bit overwhelmed or a little cranky or a little like, no, you know, the next cards that are coming out are the Two of Wands, the Nine of Cups, and the Ten of Cups. So holy camoly, I was a little surprised, not surprised to see this card, but the energies feel a little gnarlier to me, this makes sense. Be peace makes sense. But then this card, I'm like, oh, well, that, but now these three cards, I feel like this is a very encouraging message, because this is a card of your wishes, your desires, this is how it's been coming through for me lately anyway. Like what you want, you get. Like, this is a soul desire. This is like, I know what I want. It comes from my soul. I'm aligned with my soul, and therefore I'm aligned with my desires. I'm creating from my connection to my divinity, okay? And then the next card being the Nine of Cups, which is wish fulfillment. And the Ten of Cups, which is basically that heaven on earth timeline where you're living the life that you want. That's what these cards are saying to me. We're living the life that we want. Okay. So this is the energy right now, because that's what I was feeling. I was like, even though it feels like there was, at least for me and others that I know, there was a pause in this. It's like, it felt like we were moving towards this, and then there was kind of like a pause, like almost like short fire, you know what I mean? This something, I can't find the words. Short circuit, there we go. Yeah, and so then this feeling of needing to just kind of like rest and be peace and allow this metamorphosis to happen. But very clearly from these cards, it's about this flood is still coming in. You haven't lost anything. If you have had to go offline, or if you are feeling a pause, or it's like you kind of stuttered, you kind of stuttered out and you couldn't get whatever was going to go again. It just kind of, your battery died, whatever it was. It's all for the sake of again, that metamorphosis and securing. So that's kind of what I was feeling. There was like a little there was emotion towards this, and then a bit of a pause, or a dropout. But the dropout was actually about the metamorphosis that was putting you solidly on here, because for a while it was just flooding in and you were receiving, and you're kind of overstimulated or whatever it was, but then it needed a little bit of time to integrate. So yeah, it looks like this stuff is taking hold, and maybe there's something about this full moon too that's really just locking it in place, even if it might feel a little bit overwhelming again. So yeah, definitely an energy of getting what you want, having what you want, and living the life that you want. So that's really beautiful. Let me pull from this new deck that I have. I don't remember what it's called. Thief of Peace. Oh, that's interesting, because we're going down into the next row. So this card is falling right underneath Dove Spirit, Be Peace, Thief of Peace. So yeah, and that kind of reminds me of what I was talking about, how I couldn't sleep because this energy was so exciting to me. This energy that was coming in was just, it was just really, really overstimulating. Like all these cups, it's like, wow, how do I even process this? I can't process it, and then just getting burned out. So that's interesting. Let's see what comes out under the Ten of Air. The Ten of Air, the Ten of Swords, and the Ten of Swords. Yep, there it is. If we want to talk about Thief of Peace, that is just a lot of intensity. It's a lot of intensity, but again, it is a breakthrough moment. It's a threshold moment. That's what it is. It's a threshold moment. You cannot hang in the old energy anymore. You have to go over that cliff. You have to go over that cliff, but into what? Into what? Into the life of your desires and your dreams. So I think that can happen. We can hang in, of course, we can hang in both worlds, one foot in, one foot out. We can kind of dabble in the energy that we want, that we're striving towards, but then we still have one foot over in the old energy. And it was just, there was so much flooding in of the new, that it just tipped the scales, tipped the scales, and it was almost like a spiral, like it knocked you out of your chair. You went unconscious for a moment, but then it like took over. It's like the soul taking over, our true selves taking over, our true reflection. So even if that is an energy of stealing the peace for a moment, in a sense, our peace has been stolen our whole lives, because we were functioning at limited capacity. We were functioning through conditioning, through a small version of ourselves. We were only allowed to do a certain thing because we were trying to, we were conditioned in school. We had to fit into a certain thing so we could get the good grades, so we could get the good college, so we could get the good job, so we could keep the job, so we could keep the husband, so we could keep the boyfriend, keep the whatever, the approval. And it's like, no, this is the moment where it all breaks, where it all breaks. And you can let go of that, you can let go of that. But actually, I think it broke. I think that stuff broke a while ago, and we were just kind of broken. But then broken and healing and confronting, and but then there was enough cleanup again that the soul aspects could come in, right? And they're just taking over. They're just, again, there's a thief of the peace, but again, the peace was already stolen long ago. So we're getting the peace back. We're getting the peace back, but everything happens in cycles. So it's like you expand and then you contract a little, and then you stabilize, and then you expand and you contract, and you stabilize. So the next card coming out underneath the Ace of Cups is the King of Wands. So the King of Wands is the way he is coming through for me now, and often comes through for me, is he who works in collaboration with spirit. This is co-creative energy where you take your action through it's like crow medicine. There's man's law and there's cosmic law, and so that's the thief of peace, what I was talking about. Man's law has stolen our connection. It's stolen our connection to the divine, and that's through that channel, where our higher selves can reach us, because we've cleared out enough, like me with those 6 years, really clearing out and getting that vessel empty so that we can receive and take action from our divine masculine energy within us, in this world. Okay, so that really indicating that's the energy that we're at now at this point. Again, even if it feels a little wonky, spirit led, spirit guided, and so we've talked about this a lot, where like when your desires come from the this kind of energy, the conditioning, then you're wanting things for the wrong reason. You're wanting something for approval, or you're wanting something so you don't lose something that you're afraid to lose, because you're not connected to that higher aspect of yourself that's always going to take care of you and guide you. It's like your compass is off. Your compass is off. You think you're facing north, but you're not. You're like slightly askewed, so you're just, you can't get it. It can't get in. It can't get in, and so now it is coming in, and then therefore what we're creating and what's fleshing out in our lives, is actually aligned with what we want. It's what we want, what our souls want, not what we're told we want to want. And we have that alignment, it can really flood through. So it's a similar energy, which is interesting because it feels very different. But the message is still the same. So part of that process, because everything is process oriented and takes a while. And again, the nature of this realm with duality and the cyclical nature of things, it can feel awry sometimes. The devil, yeah. So there is a lot of that energy kind of coming around right now. I have had a lot of the dreams that I've been having, not last night, but I had maybe 3 or 4 nights where I definitely had darker energy in my dreams, where there was just some weird stuff going on, and I was floating through it. It wasn't affecting me, but it was around. And so I felt that in the energy as well, just like there was a little bit, almost like, the thief of peace, like almost coming around trying to like knock us off, or even presenting the reality, like an overlay on the reality that did kind of, just make this a little harder to find, where it was like covering it up, or it was like trying to make it appear like, there's just a little bit of strangeness going on, definitely in the dream space. But I was feeling it in the world as well, like what we were talking about with some of the people with the, just the strange behavior that was just, there was just a lot of this energy flying around that made it hard to stay in balance, So again, that be peace, that directive to be peace, to pull back your energy. So while all of this is absolutely happening, this alignment with our soul's desires and the fleshing out of our life as our souls intended, not as society told us was intended, where we got hijacked, by this kind of stuff, but our true path, our true mission, absolutely is coming in and being restored. But there does seem to be a little bit, I want to say, interference. In a sense, it's just the nature of this realm, because of the polarities, where this has been here all along, and whereas before it really, it was just larger. Look at how big he is compared to these two. It's like, that's how it felt for a really long time. It was like that distorted energy was just so huge, and it had so much power that a lot of us didn't even know that it wasn't real. We just thought that's how life was. Oh, well, that's just how it is. And, whatever it is, whatever we tell ourselves based on the programming, it's like, even the thing of like, well, when you get older, your body starts to fall apart. And it's like, well, does it have to? Is that something that we just like program in and then we experience? Like, what if we told ourselves different stories, right? But the stories that got overlaid onto us, that we just thought that was real. And in some cases, we're still unraveling some of those programs, things that we've just taken for granted and everybody believes it. And so we just think it's real and it's absolutely not, million examples for that. Right. And so anyway, but now it's like, again, the scales have tipped where, like this, this threshold moment, that's the scale tipping where this is no longer dominating. This is not the dominant energy anymore. The dominant energy is our divinity, our higher selves, our souls. And we've done enough of the shadow work, because it's almost like this got so big that people started waking up to it, where like you couldn't not see it any before. When it was sort of like medium level, you could just go along with the program. But then it came so in the view that it's like people started breaking out of it, breaking out of that spell, breaking out of those chains, to the point where, our higher aspects could come in because we were making room for them, So, but now, and even like this card is really small. Like, look at how big this card is, This card's really small. Like, this guy has shrunken, the scales have tipped. He doesn't have much power, but he's trying, and also this time of year, the veils are thin, so there are times where the darker energy, the distorted energy, it can really only function because it thinks it's separate from the whole. It can really only function out of stealing energy and power. So every once in a while, most of us that watch these know this, but I'm just going to say it anyway. It's like, they're just whatever rituals or whatever energy, whatever ways they use to steal energy to get a little bit more power, to throw some wrenches in the system. It's like that's still going on, because again, that's just the nature of this realm. But I feel like this is a time, the time of year, as well, the thinning of the veils, especially in the northern hemisphere, where we're going into fall, and we're going into that time of year. And so this kind of stuff getting kicked up a bit, in people's psyches, and just floating around. Some of those programs floating around. We're also coming up on the election, so there's that as well, and all the fuckery that goes on around that time every time. So yeah, but again, so there is some of that floating in this reading, trying to steal the peace, trying to throw things off. But most of the reading is about this breaking through that threshold, breaking through that barrier where we're coming into this. We're coming into this energy. We're stabilizing there. We're coming, even if it doesn't feel that way at the moment. Which it doesn't really to me. I mean, it does now because I'm reading it and I'm feeling this energy. But this morning I was just like, oh my God, just leave me alone. I just wanted to crawl in a closet, which is funny because we just cleared out my daughter's closet. It's a big closet, but we turned it into like a cat bedroom, and so we have all these shelves in there. And there's a part of me that like I want a closet bedroom. Like I want a closet where I can just like hole up. And like I was like sitting in there the other day with the cats, trying to encourage them to come in because we have a cat door because there's a window in there. I was just like, oh my God, I love it in here. I just want to sit in this. I want to sit in this closet. The next card is upheaval. Yeah, definitely. So right after the devil, definitely acknowledging that energy. I thought it seemed a little perky compared to how the energy is feeling right now. So a lot of upheaval. It's like a dust storm of darkness. Look at these little sheep down here. They don't even know what's going on. I don't like that term. I don't like calling people sheeple, and I didn't mean it that way, but that is kind of interesting that that's there. A lot of people not knowing what's going on, not being able to read the energies, but definitely a disturbance in the field recently. But everything's in service to the light. So, there might be a bit of a disturbance, a bit of trying to knock you off your alignment, but in the end, it really only strengthens you because this energy is so strong. It's so strong in us because our channels are so clear. And again, this interesting message of right on top of each other, this double 10 of swords, where that threshold moment has been crossed. Actually, it's really interesting because I have this thing with hawks and eagles whenever I go through a threshold moment where I'm collapsing a fear program, or I'm collapsing something that I'm hooked into, where I'm going into a more expansive version of myself. So, again, just another way of saying everything we've been talking about with our souls anchoring in, more of our souls coming in. And there is a bit of a threshold moment with that because you have to step off the cliff. You have to like surrender to it. You can, like I was saying before, you can walk closer to it. You can start to merge with it, but you have to like fully release the old, and that sometimes you need a little bit of a kick to do that. You need a little bit of a kick. And so that's, for me, that was like being really overstimulated and having my, getting really out of balance. And then it's like I had to just kind of collapse. And in that collapse, something was able to spark. I was able to release that. I was able to release it because I was so taken offline. But often that's the benefit of this kind of fuckery, where it's meant to throw you off. Like, because this thinks it's separate, and if you look at it as separate, you could look at it like, oh, they're trying to do this, or, some kind of like victim energy, but really it's just the dance of polarity, where when this energy comes around, it's a reflection of our own darkness, the own darkness that we need to release, that we're not letting go of. So when it kicks up and it goes all around, it gives us something to box against. It's like, oh, I see the opponent, and you can kind of like, handle those dreams, or handle whatever weird stuff's going on in your hologram in your life, and you can release yourself. You can release yourself to the part of you that's still allegiant to this energy, because this kind of energy can only come to you, and it can only attach to you in the areas within yourself where you're still running these programs, where there's still a part of you that's choosing it. There's still a part of you that's believing it. We choose things by believing it, by believing in it, and so we can ask ourselves, like, well, why, like the belief around age and sickness, it's like, well, is that what I want? Is that what I want? Because we have unlimited potential here. We're infinite beings. We're just programmed into believing that we're less. So it's like, these beliefs that we've just been conditioned into, that we take for granted. It's like, is that actually what I want? Because if it's not actually that I want, then why am I feeding it? Because as long as I feed it, this kind of energy has access to me. As long as I feed anything from a lack and limitation perspective, or anything from the lower realm that tells us that we're less than infinite God beings here to co-create our reality through the divinity that we all have. Whatever part of us, and that's like me over those 6 years when I went reclusive, it's like I was having these dreams, because I was in this relationship that was really kind of like, I needed it because it was very helpful to me, but it was very happy, and it was very sunny, and it was very Venusian, and we just, had all this like wonderful time, but it's like there wasn't any alchemy in it, where I was transmuting my darkness. It's like so in the dream, I kept falling down into the mud. I kept going into the mud, and he was just like walking. My partner at the time was just like walking in the desert, and it was really dry, and he could just walk, and he was walking in the sun, and I was just like, how are you walking? Like, I just kept going down into the mud, and I kept being drawn to go over into this like muddy puddle, and I wanted to keep walking with him, but I couldn't, and I was even like putting pallets over the mud to try to like stay on top. And finally, I was just like, I basically, our souls like ended the relationship in that dream, where I was like, I need to go over into the mud. I need to go down to the bottom and unplug this, or I'm always just like, I can't just walk, I can't just walk here. And then so I knew then when I woke up, I had to end that relationship. And so anyway, but it's like we can just go on the surface and not realize how many programs we're still running, and how much that limits us in our life expression. So yeah, if we're really connecting with our souls now, and the floodgates are open, and this is all coming in, it's like they're not going to let us settle for for lack and limitation, and for the program. They're going to want us to really co-create with them. And so when that darkness comes up, it can look like it's against us, but really it's showing us where we're still holding allegiance to things that are untrue, and to things that limit us. So there's I'm seeing it now. There's a real push from our higher selves. Yeah, because this is a threshold moment. This is where we go through the whole way. So we're just being pushed. Everything's being pushed up, and that's happening in the world as well. Everything that is still functioning out of this frequency is being, or out of these beliefs, or out of this limitation, is being pushed up to be cleansed, to be seen, and it's really intense. I do feel a real push with that, with this full moon energy. I don't know what it is about the moon. I haven't looked at the astrology. I think it's an Aries moon, which makes sense, because Aries very much is the pioneer, and it's kind of like, I'll go over the cliff first. I'll go over there. I'm gonna go over there, but that just sounds too blunt. It's like, I'm gonna go over the cliff. I'm going. We're all going. Let's bring out the cheerleader here. I'm so tired. That took a lot out of me. But yeah. So, but anyway, and to go over that, it is that threshold moment where it's like both are there at the same time. So here I am watching the devil in upheaval. The devil's right under what we want. What do you want? Is what you want coming from your soul? Are you co-creating? Are you co-creating with spirit, with your higher aspects, or are you co-creating from the lower program? And like, really looking into that, and having the opportunity through this stuff, kind of raising its head to be like, what am I aligning with? What am I aligning with? And the upheaval coming right underneath the 9 of Cups. So, again, it's like stirring things up for us, for the sake of this, for the sake of us to truly live the fullest expression of our souls, that our souls are here to do. Um, all right, I'm going for this deck again. Oh my God, that was a half hour already. Amazing. Okay, so we get Earth. Well, yeah, here we are on the Earth. You know, this is the Earth game. This is Gaia. This is the shift of the ages. This is us. You know, we're freeing ourselves from, you know, from the lower realm, because this is the shift of the ages on this planet, where we're raising, raising up out of, we're rising up out of this, and it's taking a lot of upheaval. You know, it's taking a lot of upheaval, but again, everything is in service of the light. Just because something thinks it's separate, or we might view it as separate, in the end, it ends up being all for the sake of where we're going, where we're destined to go at this time, which is absolutely that heaven on earth timeline. And again, it's a process, because that's how it is on the earth plane. And there's duality and polarity, because that's how it is on the earth plane. But again, in the greater cycle of ages, you know, this kind of reminds me of the cosmos, you know, where they're up in the sky. You know, the Earth is a fractal of something much larger going on in the galactic realm, in the cosmic spheres, and so it's a fractal. This is with a stage. This is where it's being played out, right? But yeah, so it's all being played out. It's not just us in our little lives. It's not just us and, you know, whatever this is that's haunting us. It's just, we are fractals of the Earth, and the Earth is fractals of the galaxy. You know, it's all one game. It's being played here for us. That's where we are, and we're playing it. And there it is, the light and the dark. You know, the light and the dark. So, all right, let me do a Goddess of the Moon Oracle. See if there's anything else that comes through. I might kind of wrap this up. I don't know. Let's see, what else? Discernment, yeah. Okay, well, yeah, and it has felt like that. It's felt a little foggy lately, you know, where again we had a lot of influx and a lot of, you know, a lot of this kind of energy. But again, the world of polarity in this realm, you know, if you have a lot of this, you're going to have to balance out over this. You know, you got to balance it out, because that's what it is. It's all about coming into balance. It's all about weaving them together, allowing them both to be there. So, you know, if this one doesn't get enough attention, like me with the dream, it's like, hey, you were having a little too much fun over here. Not that it's about having too much fun, but, you know, it's like I was really in the light, and I needed that, because before that I was really in the dark. I was going through a really, really dark period, you know. But as we go through the extremes, you know, we come into more of a balance, and that's kind of how we're going to do this earth trek more easily, especially as things really start to swing, because we are at that threshold moment collectively, humanity, you know, where we are making a shift, and we are going through that metamorphosis. So everything is really up, you know, the veil's thinning, you know, there's both light and dark, you know, we're seeing it all. And so using your discernment in which one, you know, which one you're focusing on. Don't focus on one too much, don't focus on the other one too much. They're both there, you know. Keep it in balance, hold it all with consciousness and awareness, staying in balance with the light and the dark, staying in balance with the action and the inaction, you know, just using your discernment. And, you know, it can feel really good when we start to get into this energy and things are really flowing, and you just want more, you know, more, but, you know, it's going to catch up with you and bite you in the ass like it did me, right? You know, it's like just, you know, and it's okay. You know, we can swing. Some of us like to swing. We you know, we go really high, we go really low, and then we get to experience everything else in between. And some people keep it a little closer, and we're all kind of playing our role. We're all kind of playing our role and holding a different frequency in that, you know, a different bandwidth, you know. So however you do it, but just that reminder, you know, when it does swing the other way, to know that it is for the sake of balance, and it is for the sake of integration, you know, integrating and bringing things where you hold them all together. You can hold all. You're not rejecting any. You're not rejecting either. So that's interesting. Okay, let me pull a goddess card. That also being underneath the Thief of Peace and the Bee Peace. So, you know, these are contrasts as well. There's peace and there's the lack of peace, you know, but also that which brings peace and that which steals peace. And, you know, on the one hand, having discernment around like, well, is this something that I want to engage in or not? Is this something that's going to help me be steady, or is this something that's going to knock me off even more, even if it's something that you would normally do and that could be really nourishing, like some of those events I had to cancel, like, no, that's going to knock me out of balance, you know, using your discernment, you know. And sometimes, you know, the more negative things that we want to avoid are the very places that we need to go because we need to alchemize something. So again, using that discernment to keep things in balance for the sake of balance and ultimate peace, ultimate peace by just being wise of what this realm is about and what the game is here, what the game is here and playing it because, the stakes are kind of high right now. There's a lot going on and it's only going to get more intense. So really, I think that's the main message here. Yeah, just really understanding that there's both going on always, but they're really heightened right now, and just using that discernment and what we engage with, what we don't engage with, when we do and when we don't, and just keeping everything kind of towards that balance and that center, being wise, being conscious. Oh, that's funny. Yeah. And also have humor, because this card has been coming out recently and it came out in a personal reading yesterday actually as well, where there was like some heaviness, but then it was like, but it's all written, and this is like our higher selves, they're like, yeah, it's kind of intense right now, and yeah, you gotta pay attention and like, ooh, like keep it balanced in the shift of the ages. But on the other hand, it's like, it's all fine, it's all written, and we're written, our DNA is coded with this, we know how to do this, and so we're just kind of riding the roller coaster ride. We're riding it, and it's okay. And even like me this morning, feeling like a hormonal teenager. And just like I can still laugh at myself. Like my daughter, she was telling me something, and I just like flopped down on the bed, and I was like, and I like complained about like 10 things, and then she was like, we were just laughing at me, it's just funny, and she just gave me this cute little reminder, and we were kind of like this, just like laughing at the human play, like it's all okay, it's all okay, it's all in good humor, we're safe, we're held, it's all held in love, our higher selves know exactly what they're doing. It's kind of that thing like, well, I'm glad you're having such a good time. I'm glad you're having such a good time, but I don't think you remember what it's like to be in a body, and like, thank you for reminding me to laugh, but you want to try this, you want to try this in this moment. So anyway, all in good fun. All right, so I'm going to pull an angel card, and we get two. Oh, beautiful. Okay, so we get faith. So that's a beautiful message after the laughing. I don't know who that is. Azuma. I don't know. Is that a Buddhist thing? I'm sure somebody knows. But anyway, right after her is the card faith, and it's again, these little sparkles where it's like it's all good, it's all held, it's all okay, you don't actually have to know what you're doing, you don't actually have to like have it all in perfect balance, you're going to find your way as you go to extreme or whatever it is, it's all written, have faith. And that this is really about new beginnings. And look at those ripples, like everything that we're doing is sending ripples out. Everybody's alignment, everybody's, like dream machine and everything that everybody's coming into is connected. It's all rippling out to everybody else. This is a new beginning for everybody, no matter how it's coming through for you, whether you're really seeing a lot of darkness or you're really seeing a lot of light in this moment, whatever it is, and of course it's switching around, it's for everyone, this light, the ripples of light are spreading to everyone, no matter what it looks like, even those that are really suffering, even those that are leaving the planet, even those that are, it's still all about this process, and everyone's soul is on board. Everyone's soul is in agreement with this. Again, it's like this. It's like in the higher realms, we're all laughing. We're all on board with everything that's going on. There's nothing that's going on that the highest truth, the highest consciousness is not aware of. There's nothing that's actually an aberration. There's nothing that's actually a predator. It's playing its role as a predator, but it's all part of this greater plan. So just to have faith and to know again that this is about a new beginning, and that new beginning is for all of us. And again, even those that might be suffering a lot, at this point in the journey, a lot of people have suffered a lot in another part of the journey, and it's just part of how our souls are doing it. And even if they're not staying on this planet, this is just our body. We have immortal, eternal souls, and so it's just this earth trek right now, and it's all of us. It's all of us being affected by this. So I'm gonna do one last card. Let me see which deck. I kind of want to do another animal. I'm gonna do another animal oracle. See what the last card is. Dream the world into being. Okay, so that's beautiful. So yeah, the last card's ending up on faith. It's all good. We have this. There's a new beginning. The new beginning is coming. And dream the world into being, lizard spirit, which is bringing us back to the beginning message around our dreams and our wishes and planting them down into this reality here in this heaven on earth timeline where dream the world into being. We're dreaming, we're wishing from our souls and from our soul alignment, and we're walking it forward. And by walking it forward, we're creating the new earth. So again, all of it written in our DNA, written in our cells, written on our souls, all of it guided, higher guided, and higher held. And just, yeah, I feel like this is a little bit of a tricky period, but just to have faith and to know that even this kind of stuff is for you, and it's helping to clear the programs. And again, I just want to reiterate, since I'm holding this card and I flashed on this above it, some of the advice being checking your beliefs and checking your desires and making sure that they're coming from your soul and not from the program and not from somebody else's program, and knowing that anything that feels small and makes you feel limited and like you can't do it is a program, and it's something that you can drop. We're in this threshold energy of stepping out, and so that feels important right now to remind ourselves of. So I was starting to say, and then I forgot about the threshold moments and me with raptors. So I was feeling a lot of this kind of energy, and I was just like getting nervous, and I was like, oh God, what's going on? And I asked for a sign, and I was driving down to the desert house, and there was, I think it was a golden eagle, because it was all gold, and maybe it was a hawk, and I just didn't see its markings, but whatever it was either a hawk or an eagle. And it was literally flying like right beside my car, outside of my window for, probably like 1, 2, 3, like that long. And then it went up and over. And that was literally like 20 minutes after I asked for a sign. And I had that before when I was on one of those threshold moments where I was collapsing. I was collapsing some of the dark programs that I had been running that were really scaring me, because I would come up to that threshold where I was about to break through and be free of them, where I didn't believe them anymore, and I was creating from my higher self, and I was creating, but then I'd get really scared, and they'd like pull me back. A lot of that for me is around my body and health, because I'm going to be 49 in another month. So this started when I turned 47 or 48. It's been a couple years. And so I've been working on releasing that program, because, you get all these texts where they're like, oh, you got to get your whatever because you're old now, and I was just like, oh my God, so releasing a lot of those programs and finding that empowerment. But anyway, I was really teetering on that threshold, and I had so many synchronicities with the eagles and the hawks, like undeniable synchronicities where it was like, okay, I'm being guided. Like my higher self is absolutely coming to my rescue and being like, honey, you're right. You're right. Like, don't fall for this. Like, you are limitless. And the more people that can stretch into that limitlessness and claim that, the truth of reality, the more people can, like be that first one that makes that, or one of the first ones that does that 8-second race or 8-minute race or whatever it was, and other people will too. Like, I was really being guided on the thresholds, and the eagles and the hawks, but especially the eagles, were coming to me in miraculous ways through dream synchronicities and all these things. So the fact that happened again, I know that's a collective energy. There's a collective threshold that we're able to pass through right now. So if you are feeling a lot of this energy and you are teetering on, like where you're just afraid, you're afraid to step out, just let this be an encouragement that there is like a whole magical world on the other side of the program, So to do that due diligence of letting yourself go to the bottom of that pond and finding out where you're still allowing this energy in by believing in it, and knowing that when you detach from it and you're courageous and you even like asking for synchronicities, or asking for signs and seeing them, and allowing your higher self to come through and speak to you so you can step out of the programs, because that's what's intended. That's what's intended for this time. Again, the earth, the earth trek, the earth trek, and dreaming the world into being. Why would we dream of it? We don't have to dream, oh, I hope, we're shown this box and we're like, I hope that I can have the best of the box. It's like, fuck the box. Like, what do you actually want? Because we're encoded with this highest division, so to really pump the dream machine from there, and releasing this as we go, so that we're just not giving it any more power. It's like the, what's that movie? I brought it up before, the little kids movie, the Life of the Guardians or something, Return of the Guardians, where, like if we didn't believe in Jack Frost, so he was like, not around anymore or something. I don't know. Have you seen that movie? But anyway, why did I say it like that? I don't know. But again, it's like what we believe in can take form. So and the opposite is that what we don't believe in can no longer take form. It no longer has any power over us. We no longer have any hooks with it. So we don't have to dance with this energy anymore when we unhook from that, when we unhook from settling for smaller dreams, settling for the dreams we've been told we're supposed to have. And some of that conditioning is really deep, and we don't even know that we have it, But this is a time where we are moving through those thresholds. And so if you are trembling on the edge there, just know that others, many other people, are as well and have walked through different thresholds, and that the higher self and the magical realm and the truth of reality is on the other side waiting for you, and that there are other people there, waiting to co-create and to dream this world into being together. And that's what it's all about. So okay, I'm gonna stop there, and I hope that was helpful to you. I'm gonna listen to this and see if I made any sense, and thank you for listening. All right, much love to you. Bye bye.